I'll read it. I figured I'd catch that. Okay.
And also,
Okay.
so we have the date, together with the chair.
Thank you.
Good morning, and welcome to the February 27th meeting of the City Utilities Committee. I am Councilmember Antonio Lewis, Chair of the committee. I'm joined by, starting to my left, the Honorable Councilmember Andrea Boone, and to my right, the Honorable Councilmember Alex Vaughn. We currently don't have a quorum, and so we're going to do this a little different today. So if it would appease my colleagues, we'll take our presentations first. And so we have presentations today from the Department of Watershed Management. We have the quarterly update. And so if it appease my colleagues, we would take the report from the Department of Watershed first.
Good afternoon, guys. I'm just here to say that, here she is.
And we know how important the watershed is, and one of my council members actually did. We got quorum, and so we're gonna do this a little bit differently. I apologize, Commissioner Browning.
No problem.
If possible. So good morning. We're gonna call can we have a motion to adopt the agenda? Been moving properly. Second, moved by Councilmember Juan, seconded by the Honorable Councilmember Byron Amos. And can you please open the vote, Mr. Johnson, please?
One moment, Mr. Chair. One moment. The vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes? It's been moved. I'll second. It's been moved by Councilmember Juan, seconded by Councilmember Lewis. Mr. Johnson, can you please open the vote?
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
And if this will be okay with my colleagues, we're gonna move the communication up. We're gonna read communications a little earlier in this meeting today.
Mr. Chair, we can take public comment, but we have no one signed in for public comment, so we can jump right into our presentation.
There's people for public comment.
Oh, there's two, okay.
There are two people for public comment. Can we have the sheet?
There wasn't a sheet out there.
Okay. Gotcha. So there wasn't a sheet out there. If we have two people. I see the two people.
Good morning.
And let me give them 1 second so we can make sure you get your proper time. I don't want to.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate you. So we're gonna start over at 3 minutes. Please state your full name, and we'll go from there. I appreciate you again.
Good morning. My name is Adrienne Coleman Tyler. I am here today to, again, ask Council's attention, or the City Utilities Committee attention, to the public access channel in the City of Atlanta. It's now been 9 months since the public access channel, Comcast Channel 24, has been in black. We've come here repeatedly to request that the CUC has purview over the public access channel, the Comcast franchise agreement. And so we're deeply disturbed that one leg of the public educational and government access channel, which is made available through a franchise agreement with Comcast or any cable provider, has been put in black, and citizens denied access to submit programming to that channel. For the past 2 years, the Dickens administration has undertook a unilateral effort to silence the voices of the people. As you should know, cable subscribers pay a 5% franchise fee to the City of Atlanta. And in 2019, the Atlanta City Council amended the franchise agreement to add a PEG capitalization grant. And the last time I got an open records request from the finance, probably a year and a half ago, that fund was at around $350,000. The city averages $5 million a year in cable franchise fees. So, Mr. Chair, again, I'm here today because to ask that we take immediate steps to restore citizen access to the public access channel, and again, to start structuring, planning out, and strategically planning the long-term build out of a robust community media center as designed by the Bottoms administration. They have a 6-point plan. It was a consultant that engaged in that process. Today, I want to ask you to focus on 3 things. I'll sit here and wait through your meeting. But last meeting, we asked that the administration come forward and tell us what their plans are for public access, to answer why the RFP was canceled by the administration after procurement had identified 3 responsive bidders. We also want to know what is the legal status of Comcast, because according to the franchise agreement, Comcast can at any time reclaim that channel, and we don't want to do that. So does the City of Atlanta have a legal document that sees the cable franchise agreement and mitigates the risk of Comcast reclaiming our one and only public access channel? And if you would, Mr. Chair, if the administration can come and answer questions from you and to the public to give us an update on where they are with the channel, I would sit here and wait, and I'd love to hear that response. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for coming today. What we were going to do is probably get that in writing from them. I think what I'll do is to not always make them come in here for this. I'll get that in writing for them. And I know Councilmember Shook and myself are working on doing a work session so that we can focus on this completely. So we'll try to get that in writing from them, because I feel like I asked a question similar to that last week.
That is correct. Johnny Knudsen with the Atlanta Public Access Producers Association. I'm here to echo my colleague, Ms. Tyler's comments. Last time when we were here, and even last session, it's been 9 months, almost a year now, that the channel has been in black. And it is a city utility. And so you guys really don't have to wait on the administration to start effecting your plan. The public board, the People TV board, has 7 members that should be appointed from the council and the administration. I believe it's 4 for the council and 3 for the administration. That hasn't been done in 10 years. So a lot of the technical assistance and support that has been needed from you guys, and I know a number of you are new, quite a few of you are not and are somewhat familiar with this situation, but I do thank you for the work session is very well needed, and we've been asking for it for about 2 years now. So I hope that we can get that fulfilled, and like I said, you guys do not have to wait on the administration. You guys authorize them to do things, but it's really in your purview, and we really do need to know if there has been some type of legal thing that has to keep them from taking this channel, because in the agreement right now the city's in breach. So they could have at any time really reclaimed that channel for shopping network or anything else that Comcast might want to do. But I do want to remind and echo that franchise agreement does bring about $5 million annually. That is basically a secondary tax on the citizens of the city of Atlanta, because only the people who subscribe in the city of Atlanta pay that franchise fee. So there's quite a bit of money that is going into the city coffers that the citizens are responsible for. So they really should have access to their channel. And I do want to echo Ms. Tyler's, and I'll give her my last minute.
Mr. Chair, no, go ahead. I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
think this is the first time I've seen it switch like that.
No, he was giving me his last few seconds.
And he can, please.
Okay. No, what I wanted to respond to was the in writing. This is a public issue. The reason why I asked for the administration is this is not an Adrian Coleman, Johnny Knutson thing. What I want the administration to do is to publicly come forward for all residents to hear from them in terms to answer these questions. With all due respect, we need some transparency, and so I would ask, I've been here for many decades. It's nothing new that the administration comes in and asks questions, and so, like I said, I have no problem waiting, but please, Austin Wagner, he canceled the contract. Let him come in and answer your questions and ours. I would respectfully ask that. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you again, and I appreciate you for asking me a direct question. What I would like to do is have a work session so that we can handle this fully. I think having him come in like last week, I don't think it will get what we need to get done. Thank you for public comment today. Is there anything from any of my colleagues? Thank you. We have one presentation for today's meeting. No. No.
Mr. Chair, we can take the communication.
Okay. So we're going to take the communication first before we get into the presentation. And so we'll have that communication read in now by Mr. Johnson.
Section G, Communications, item number 124C 5025, a communication from council members Liliana Bakhtiari, District 5, Alec Wan, District 6, appointing Ms. Amanda Baxter to serve as a member of the Solid Waste Appeals Board. This appointment is for a term of 4 years.
So I'll entertain a vote. Is the appointee here? Yes. Oh, hey, how are you? Please come to the podium, tell us your name, and tell us why you want to serve on the board, Solid Waste Appeals Board.
Yes, my name is Amanda Baxter, and I'm interested in serving on the Solid Waste Appeals Board because I want to provide help for the city in trying to figure out where we are on the appeals, how we can make them more efficient, how we can respond to the citizens effectively.
And we have one question from Mr. Wan.
Really just a statement. I want to thank Ms. Baxter for her willingness to serve and represent the joint appointments from Council Districts 5, 6, and 5 and 6. I'll make a motion to approve, but I do want to encourage all of our colleagues to make their appointments. Ms. Baxter will be the first person appointed to this board, and I know that they've already gotten a number of appeals that the department should be hearing. So with that, I just, again, make the motion to approve it and encourage everybody to start with your appointments as well.
Second. It's been moving properly. Second. Mr. Johnson, please open the vote.
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
So that was the only communication.
But, Mr. Chair, we are now
Thank you.
at our presentations.
All right, so we'll go right into our presentation. Congratulations. Congratulations. Commissioner Browning, thank you. I know it's 3 times you walked up there. I think we got it right this time.
Good morning, good morning. All right, good morning, Chairman Lewis, City Utility Committee members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to update the Committee on Department of Watershed Management's progress during the second quarter of fiscal year, covering the period of October through December 2023. Advancing to slide number 3, this illustrates the department's organizational chart. Next, I'll cover administrative and financial updates. If you advance to slide 5, this provides an update regarding our personnel status. For the reporting period, Department of Watershed Management's number of authorized positions were 1,552 positions with a little bit over 1,200 filled and 260 vacancies. Our percent filled is roughly 81%, and with a vacancy rate of roughly 16.75%. We're continuing to focus efforts to fill mission-critical positions within our core operational offices and are continuing to increase recruitment efforts and fostering strategic partnerships with local educational institutions to develop a pipeline of future candidates to fill critical vacancies. Councilman Lewis, you hosted a job fair last week. Thank you for hosting that and inviting us to participate. We also have another job fair scheduled for tomorrow at the Water Lodge that will focus on vacancies within our Office of Water Treatment and Reclamation. Advancing to slides 6 through 8, slide 6 provides a snapshot of our second quarter fiscal year 24 financials. Our O&M expenditures were 47% for personnel and roughly 30% for non-personnel budget. Slide 7, end of December, our fiscal year actual revenues were at roughly $355 million, roughly $5 million ahead of projections. And our fiscal year expenses were within budget at roughly $324 million. Slide 8 provides a graphic that illustrates our fiscal year 23 revenue actuals versus fiscal year 24 projections and actuals. Fiscal year 24 actuals are outpacing both projections and fiscal year 23 actuals. Advancing to slide 9, this provides a summary of our municipal option sales tax revenues through December. Most revenues are continuing to trend higher than projections and roughly $1.8 million above projections. Advancing to slide 10, this provides an update regarding our accounts receivables. Our effective total non-disputed balance was about $133 million, with $48 million now in payment plans, leaving roughly $84 million of collectible balances pending resolution. Meanwhile, the total balances in dispute is roughly $10 million. For those accounts that have entered into payment plans, if payments are missed, the accounts can be shut off immediately. We are in the process of procuring supplemental third-party resources to further aid collections efforts and hope to have those resources fully on board by third quarter. We're also planning to launch an amnesty program focused on small businesses early second quarter of this year. Advancing to slide 11, this provides an overview of the impacts of service terminations. Over 2,600 accounts have been reviewed, totaling roughly $8.9 million. 92% penetration rate achieved through shutoffs, payment plans, float adjustments, and full payment. The collections team is continuing to update account information for accuracy and is coordinating with our field operations team to address site-level issues. Advancing to slides 12 and 13, this provides an update on our Care and Conserve program, including bill payment, low-income water assistance program, plumbing assistance, and our new restoration assistance support services provided to customers. Slide 13, during this fiscal year, DWM assisted a total of 995 customers and rendered a little over $1.6 million in assistance to customers in need. Next, I'll cover operational highlights. You advance to slide 15. This highlights the department's progress by the numbers relating our core services and functions for the reporting period. Advancing to slide 16, this provides an update on Department of Watershed Management internal metrics. Estimated bills are slightly down from the previous quarter. We're continuing to closely monitor the number of accounts with estimated billing, which will be addressed through the upcoming transition to smart meters. Continued solid drinking water compliance at 100%, but we've had some challenges on the wastewater side of the house due to unit processes out of service and repairs underway, as well as capital projects in progress that will improve our processes and treatment once completed. We saw an uptick in the number of water main breaks and new leak work orders for the period due to the cold weather, and we're continuing to see a downward trend in the number of sewer spills. Advancing to slide 17, our Office of Watershed Protection's SLA average for the quarter was 92%. Up from last quarter's 86%. The team continued to experience challenges with erosion control inspections, which dampened performance. It's primarily due to vacancies. We're actively working to complete interviews and backfill vacancies to ensure that the team is fully staffed. Advancing to slide 18, this is our Office of Customer Care and Billing Services, which continues to have 100% SLA for the period. So kudos to that team for a continued great job. Slide 19 provides our Office of Linear Infrastructure's SLAs for the period, which was 94.9%, down from last period's 99.6%. The team experienced some challenges this reporting period: hydrant leaks and repairs, valve repairs, and main breaks attributed to the cold weather conditions. I'm confident that the team's performance will rebound in the coming months as we enter a warmer season. Advancing to slide 20, this provides an update on Office of Linear Infrastructure service requests. No surprise, 64% of service requests were relating to Water Distribution Division, while 36% of service requests were related to our Sewer Collections Division. Next, I'll cover compliance. Advancing to slide 22, we recorded a total 25 NPDES violations during a reporting period. The violations or exceedances were due primarily to the unit processes out of service and capital projects in progress, which resulted in increased solids and reduced capacity and challenges at our treatment plants. Two of our treatment plants are in Clayton and South River. We're continuing to implement swift operational changes to treat wastewater as efficiently as possible. We've continued to closely monitor influent flows and reporting exceedances to EPD per permit requirements. We have third-party contractors engaged to complete the necessary repairs to the units in order to get them back up and operational. Compliance remains a top priority for the department, and the team is focused on accountability and compliance with our permit requirements. Advancing to slide 23, this provides a summary of our sewer spills for the reporting period. We reported a total of 50 public spills. 2 major spills were reported, while 69 spills were confirmed to be related to private infrastructure. The adjacent tables provide the totals by month and the location and cause of the 2 major spills. Advancing to slide 24, this provides an update regarding our environmental and construction enforcement activities for the reporting period. The team completed a total of 3,945 inspections, a little bit over 3,300 sites, roughly 85% were found to be in compliance. 602 sites, which is 15%, were found to be in non-compliance. We issued 284 stop work orders, issued 34 citations, 34 court sessions, and levied fines totaling $25,107. The next two slides, 25 and 26, provides a summary of activities related to our site development division. We have 376 permits that were issued for the period for both single-family residential, commercial, including multifamily, and 1,769 plan reviews were completed for the reporting period for both new and resubmittals. Next, I'll cover environmental policy updates. Advancing to slide 28, this provides an update regarding our efforts for our proposed updates to our post-development stormwater ordinance extended detention policy. This update will help to minimize flooding, improve system conveyances via extended detention and release for peak storm events, while supporting continued growth and development within the city. And this is for new development that will come online. Our language modifications are in draft form, and we are working to schedule a work session to solicit feedback next month with CUC members. So that'll be March timeframe. And we're also planning to schedule sessions with various internal and external stakeholders to review and solicit comments and feedback from them as well. Advancing to slide 29, this is DWM's, we're looking to seek council approval for 400 plus miscellaneous fees that are severely outdated, and some have not been adjusted since the mid-2000s. The updates are needed to ensure cost recovery for services provided. We unfortunately are losing costs for service items such as meters and installation, inspection fees, et cetera. The fee updates are currently pending law review and comments. And once comments are received and incorporated, we will schedule another work session to provide an overview of the fees that are proposed, as well as the approach for how we arrived at them. We're targeting to schedule that session in April timeframe. Advancing to slide 31, this covers our capital improvements program. Our 5-year CIP amounts to $1.2 billion in projects and is comprised of 92 active projects. Still a heavy focus on consent decree projects, but also a strong focus on water and wastewater facilities, linear assets, and our other facilities. We're continuing to balance capital investments across our operations to ensure completing upgrades to the most critical assets to ensure the long-term serviceability. The next couple of slides, 32 through 37, just highlight a few notable CIP projects that are either currently underway or on the immediate horizon. So we have our small diameter rehab contract A, which is a consent decree project that should be finishing up next month. We have the sister contract B that should be finishing up late summer. We have our Norfolk Storage Tank and Pump Station, which we had the groundbreaking for that earlier this month. Major consent decree project that will alleviate sewer overflows along the Peachtree Creek trunk system. Our Adamsville Pumping Station project is a new project that's come online. It's a part of our water resiliency portfolio of projects focused on our water assets. We have our Custer Avenue Multi-Benefit Capacity Relief Project. That's the storage tank, and that will be, is in design phase to address sewer overflows and flooding within the Peoplestown community. And we have our Butler Trunk Relief and Ponce Piedmont New Diversion Structure Project, which is also a capacity relief project pursuant to our consent decree that is focused in the Clear Creek Basin in Midtown. That completes my presentation. Subject to your questions, happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from my colleagues? Councilmember Alex Wan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Commissioner, thank you for your presentation. Appreciate the update. Everything looks pretty solid. Just a couple of questions. Regarding your staffing situation, in terms of job fairs and opportunities for y'all to be out trying to recruit folks, what's the best way of managing that if we know of opportunities? Is there an HR person within your team, or should we go through Commissioner Smith's team for those?
Yes, we have a dedicated HR team within the Department of Watershed Management that really helps with the day-to-day operations and coordinates with the larger Department of HR regarding talent acquisition. So both groups support.
Okay.
And so I can provide the point of contact for Watershed to you.
All right. Right. Now I want to go to some of the metrics that you presented. Page 16, the water main breaks.
Yes.
You mentioned it's largely due to cold weather. But in terms of those numbers, what the 12.44 12-month average, what is that in relation to the total number of mains that we have?
So,
Yeah, sorry.
So we have over 2,600 miles of mains
Okay.
throughout the city. The bulk of them are smaller diameter. The larger transmission mains, obviously, are for conveyance. We occasionally will see some breaks on the larger mains, but most of the breaks are on the smaller diameter mains, mainly 2-inch mains, 2 cents or 8-inch mains. We typically, our metric is, number of breaks per 100 miles. City of Atlanta, we're not terrible in our metric. I think we're a little bit elevated within the city proper. But, the target is around 12 breaks per 100 mile. If you looked at total system, we're probably at 10, so we're below that threshold. But of course, we want to get as close to 0 as possible. And so for us, the focus is going to be to enact contracts that are going to help us to progress renewal and replacement of our most aging mains. We've moved to an asset management approach where we're looking at age of main, criticality, breaks, and letting the data really drive us to prioritize which mains are going to be the focus. And so we're going to be looking to invest, roughly $10 to $15 million annually over the next 10 years, so we can ramp up efforts to renew and replace those aging mains.
Okay, that's good. Because that was my question. You answered it. I was like, well, what's the point of reference we should be looking at to be concerned or not concerned? Because we get the thank you
Alerts
for
all the time.
What's that?
Get the alerts all the time.
We do, yeah.
There's always something breaking. Yeah.
Which I appreciate because it gives us an idea of what's happening across the city. But at some point, you do kind of get concerned, like, wow, seems like a lot. I think most of the folks, when I show them the emails, they're like, wow, I can't believe there's that many. But that remind them how big our system is.
Yeah, we've got, over 2,600 miles. Right. And the breaks could be on a main, the breaks could be on a service line. And we respond to both.
Okay. Going down further to the violations and the spills, are there fines or associated with that? I remember my previous stint on council, we would see legislation that would come through to authorize payment of them. I don't know if that's changed.
Forthcoming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same. We do pay a fine, a penalty when we have an exceedance. We've had some challenges, our wastewater plants, particularly RM Clayton and our South River plant. RM Clayton has had some challenges with solids, and during the summer months we experienced some slugs, some illicit discharges, more or less potent wastewater characteristics that came into the plant and affected our biological processes. So I think we made it over the hump with that, and then after that issue, we began to have some more mechanical-related issues with unit processes. One thing, as far as investments in our linear system is the need for investments in our vertical plants. And so we're fortunate to have some annual contractors on board that can support some of the immediate repairs. We've got secondary clarifiers that are not operating as they should. We've got 3 that we're working on repairs for. There's 2 that require a little bit more extensive repairs. And so working where we can utilize the existing contracts in place, and then, of course, more complex work, we'll look to put that out for bid and working with Department of Procurement. So honestly, I think there's been some deferred maintenance, and so we're working to get beyond that hurdle and those challenges and work to get those plants back to operating as they should.
Is the deferred maintenance a function of just time and timing, or is it a function of resources?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think that, there's been some heavy focus on more linear assets, and maybe a thought that the plants are fine, but you do have pumps that go down, and you have to maintain those, and those facilities work around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
And so working with our internal staff to make sure that they're doing the necessary checks daily to ensure the various processes are operating as they should.
Okay. Well, all this kind of just goes to, I did also want to go back and talk about the metrics around the fire hydrants.
Yes.
And that you said cold weather as well.
Fire hydrants, I think we're not doing bad. We've got a 99% functional. Some of the fire hydrants in the system are private. We do focus on the public assets, and we do work closely with AFRD as they also do the inspections. So, we're at 99.43% in December.
Okay.
12-month average of 99.19%. So.
Yeah, maybe it's just because my district right now is hypersensitive to fires. So.
Yes.
But I think all of this just goes into the information we need to get out to the public ahead of the most vote in May.
Yes.
I think, again, there's a lot of work that needs to be done maintaining our system. Y'all are doing everything you can, but we just got to make sure we properly and adequately resource y'all to be able to do this. My last question is around the fees. You talked about revisiting the fees and that y'all have already started the process and at some law is reviewing it. Is that going to need to be done legislatively, or is there an administrative adjustment path as well?
It will require legislative approval, and hence the reason that we want to have a brief work session to just kind of step council through the basis and the approach, and just make sure that everyone's comfortable in understanding what the rates are currently and where they're going, and then the external discussions with stakeholders such as developers and citizens so that they also understand the basis for it. And so pretty dated fees across the board, and we're losing money on several. So
yeah, I look forward to that discussion. Probably not as much as my colleague, Councilmember Shook. I know he's been really laser focused on that, and hopefully, one of the things that we'll talk about in the work session is just, and I think you've suggested this as well, if we're going to adjust them, let's also put in provisions where we can track it with CPI or automatic increases so that we're not 30 years later looking at
absolutely,
rates that are just not even in line with what the rate is.
Right. I think some of those automatic adjustments, whether tied to a CPI or some type of index, is something we want to consider.
All right, thank you. Again, thank you for a solid report. Appreciate all the work you and your team are doing.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Our next speaker will be Councilmember Andrea Boone. And
Thank you, Madam Commissioner, for your team's hard work. We had some very difficult issues this week, and they were able to work them out with some of our senior citizens, so thank you so much. My first question is the construction that is currently going on at Mays and Fairburn.
Yes.
Would that alleviate the flooding at Doctors Memorial Park?
No. So the work that's happening at Benjamin Mays and Fairburn is related to an inoperable or partially open water valve on a 30-inch main. So that will help to mitigate any pressure challenges in the system. We've been monitoring pressures throughout the system, and we've seen a little bit of dampening in pressure. So it's related to our water distribution, our water transmission system. But I will look into the status of the work to mitigate flooding within that location.
It's a large amount of water, and we can't drive down Fairburn Road when it rains. We have to go all around 2 lanes pretty much. That's Mays and Fairburn at Doctors Memorial Park, and it's been like that for years, even before the park was built. That's Doctors Memorial Park.
Got it.
Secondly, one of our businesses is being impacted by the construction. Will one of your team members get with ADOT to see if they would at least contact the business owner, and I will send you that information?
Absolutely.
Okay. Secondly, do we have any updates on the Westview Community project, and if we can present something to them?
Absolutely. I have Deputy Commissioner Alex Mahajer here, and I'll defer to him to provide an update. I know there's been some recent email traffic about the status of the project. I think we're working to try and get a package pulled together so we can get it into construction. But to your point, I think we're due to have another update with the community.
Yes, please come.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning, members of council. Alex Mahajer, Office of the Watershed Protection. For the Westview community, we have finished our reconnaissance study to find out what are the problems associated with the existing conditions. And then now we have done that. And our next stage is to go for remedial action and proposed design for the whole area. There's a large community. We are thinking about a couple of hundred storm structures that we are analyzing, and this system is pretty old. So what is going to take place probably is to revisit the whole system all the way till it hits the open waters, and to alleviate storm problems all the way maybe to the 25-year storm frequency. So we are in the process of doing that. We have a schedule, and we're working through our engineers to make that happen.
Thank you. I would definitely like to do something to let the broader community know that the city government is working for them. I know we've been on calls with maybe 5 to 10 of the members, but I would definitely love to set up something for that community of interest to present that to the whole body so they will know that we are working on that.
Correct.
Thank you so much for your work.
My pleasure.
And your communication staff has been great working with that community. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We've been joined by the Honorable Councilmember Shook, and I didn't say it a little earlier, but we were also joined by the Honorable Councilmember Byron Amos. I have a few questions if any of my colleagues don't have any more. And first I want to go to page 17 and say kudos to the existing grease trap inspection team, 100% across the board. Kudos to the team for getting that done. Next, I want to go to page 5, and I'm going to spend most of my time around on page 5, and that's the human resource page. First, I want to say thank you to your office, your department, and for helping us put on the job fair last Friday at Roselle Fan Recreation Center. To see the amount of folks that came out and the need was a real thing, but it was different from any other job fair because I saw more City of Atlanta uniforms there applying for a new job than any other job fair I've had. And so what I mean by that is I literally, we have the videos. Folks were not afraid if they work in a different department to come and apply for a watershed department job. And so to see the 260 vacant positions, I know what we requested from your department was that we can have people apply for the entry-level positions that they didn't need the skill level to the skill level that was there. So I hope that we're able to change it from a job fair and to look at your 90-day plan with the hiring blitz, which you have in the job fair at Roselle Fan last week and the next one coming up. If you look at a hiring blitz right after this, say next month after you've received you've done everything. So I would like to work with you on a hiring blitz and not a job fair. But that way we actually can get some people employed.
Sounds like a plan.
The next thing I wanted to talk about was Lakewood Dam. Is there any updates on Lakewood Dam?
The design efforts are underway. We're continuing to coordinate with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on the design. So the project is progressing well. We do have an adjacent sanitary sewer that is exposed along the banks of Lakewood Park. And so we're working through determining how we're going to stabilize that pipe, whether it's going to be a part of the scope of work of the larger project or we're going to address it separately. But the project is progressing well.
Thank you. Is there, similar to Councilmember Boone, I know we've been working very diligent in that area. Is there any kind of way that we can let the folks know their council, that their city is working for them? Let's put out some stuff around to let folks know that this is actually getting fixed, because we know it's been a long-standing issue that's already looks like it's getting fixed now. From the work that folks have been doing. And the next thing I want to talk about was South Atlanta High School. We know we're predicting a little rain this week, and I'm a little nervous today. We have a huge basketball game coming up in which we're in the state final, in the Elite Eight in the state of Georgia. We got the young folks from Butler and Augusta coming up. The embarrassing part is that at the end of the game, some of my kids are going to be outside standing in a puddle with wet socks because of the flooding that happens at South Atlanta High School. And so have we started moving towards rectifying Pool Creek yet?
So we're continuing to work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on that location as well. As you know, they completed a flood mitigation study. They, disclosed what their findings were and the scope of work for the project in order to mitigate flooding within that location. What we're waiting for is funding. There's a cost share between us and the Corps. We've been working with our federal lobbyist teams and advocates to try and get that project funded, get the appropriations put in place so that we can move forward with construction. So it will be a construction project that will be managed wholly by Army Corps of Engineers. So at this point, we understand what the scope of work is going to be and working to get the funding in place for the Corps to be able to move forward with it.
I appreciate you, and I also like to know, like for the people in our district to know that we are thinking about the kids at South Atlanta High School, because that's our district high school. Are there any other questions from any of my colleagues? The Honorable Councilmember Shook.
Thank you. Commissioner, I just wanted to thank you and your team for the level of infrastructure work that I'm seeing as I drive around town. You know, my constituents are probably like everyone else's in that they think that the city has not, over many decades, kept up with what it should have kept up with in terms of replacing and repairing aging infrastructure, and you inherited a lot more than your share of pipes way past lifetime. And I just want to say I've never seen as much activity going on as I drive around now. So thank you to you and your crews. It is greatly, greatly appreciated.
Thank you for that, Senator Shook. I appreciate it.
And to give you one more kudos, DWM University. DWM University is a big thing for us, a big thing for our district, big thing for our city. So super happy. Could you expand on that a little before we let you go? Because I want to make sure that the people out listening to us know that there's an opportunity to get that skill set and get a good career.
So about 2 years ago, came up with the idea within Watershed, our training, knowledge transfer internally was a little bit disjointed. We kind of left it to each of the offices, and I felt that we needed to centralize it so that we could better manage certifications, keeping up with those, and understanding what the needs are from a skill set for our workforce. So, we created a hub, DWM University, which would focus on ensuring that our employees complete all the necessary mandatory training internal to the city, as well as offering additional resources and opportunities for knowledge acquisition within the water sector, which is what we're functioning in. That group manages keeps track of all the certifications, notifies employees when their certifications are about to expire, works to get new courses and classes set up that will help us to advance having a well-skilled and trained workforce. So they also help with the job fairs and the blitzes, and also help with some of our communications and coordinations with our union organizations. But it's a one-stop shop, group that manages everything to do with knowledge and skills advancements for employees within the Department of Watershed Management.
Thank you again, Commissioner. And if I don't have anything else from my colleagues, I appreciate you for your presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, please sound our first reads.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Section H, ordinance for first reading, item number 2, 24-01105. An ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the FY 2024 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget an amount of $4,400,000.00 to transfer funds from watershed reserves for appropriations and add funds to the asphalted concrete pavement milling and resurfacing project and for other purposes. This takes us to our regular agenda, Section I, ordinance for second reading. Mr. Chair, if there is no objection from the committee, the department requests to take items 3 and 4 together as a block.
Please do.
Item number 3, 24-01064, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing Chief Financial Officer to amend the FY 2024 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget in amount of $17,038,110.00 to transfer funds from downtown water storage tanks and pump station project and add funds to the Adamsville Pump Station Upgrade Project and for other purposes. Item number 4, 24-01065, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the FY 2024 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget an amount of $5,400,000.00 to transfer funds from watershed reserves for appropriations and add funds to the Project Management Service Team project and for other purposes.
Is there anything from the department?
Yes. Do you also want to introduce the IPRO report?
We have not received an IPRO report for this item. This is simply a budget amendment, and the IPRO report is not accompanied with this.
Unless you see something we don't see.
Excuse me. So let me go with the budget amendment. Excuse me. The purpose of this legislation is to request authorization to amend the FY 2024 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund 5052 budget in the amount of $38,110.00 to transfer funds from the downtown water storage tank and pumping station project and to add funds to the Adamsville pumping station upgrade projects and for other purposes. The City of Atlanta Department of Watershed Management has identified in connection with the capital improvement program the need to fund certain costs. The purpose of this budget amendment is to add additional funds to the Adamsville Pump Station Upgrade Project. This project consists of construction to provide an improvement to the existing Adamsville Pumping Station that is located at 3711 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30311 in District 10. Built in 1956, the Adamsville Repump Station functions as a storage facility and a pump water and pump water produced by the Chattahoochee Water Treatment Plant into the higher Hemp-Hill 1175 pressure zone and supplies water to the South Fulton area, which consists of several large commercial users and wholesale customers. This concludes my remarks. I'm happy to address any questions.
Been moving properly second, moved by Councilmember Shook, second by Councilmember Wan.
Apology, I had a comment. I think the intent was for it to travel with item number 8, where we would award, execute an agreement for construction services. So we're going to amend the budget and look to award.
We can take that item next, but
Okay.
we can take 3 and 4 together. We'll have to jump down to resolutions in order to take item number 8.
Okay.
We'll take that next. It's been moving properly second. Mr. Johnson, please open the vote. It was moved by Councilmember Shook, second by Councilmember Wan.
The vote is open.
We actually have a question from Councilmember Bond. I mean, a statement. Gotcha. So Bond is aye.
The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. These items are favorable. Let's jump down to Section J, resolutions, item number 8.
Please do.
24R 3279, a resolution by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an agreement for RFP DWM 2301-1230206, Adamsville Pump Station upgrades with Ruby Collins Benchmark Joint Venture on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management. For a term to commence on the date a notice to proceed is issued of 730 calendar days for substantial completion and 821 calendar days for final completion, and amount not to exceed $29,318,282.00. All contract work will be charged to unpaid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And the IPRO report is already attached to the legislation.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Amos, second by Councilmember Lewis. But is there anything from the department?
Yes, thank you again, Chairman Lewis Quinton Fletcher, Deputy Commissioner for the Office of Water Treatment and Reclamation. The previous legislation was a budget amendment. This legislation is to recommend award to Ruby Collins Benchmark Joint Venture on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management. This project is a design build construction project to add a 4th pump at the Adamsville pumping station. The number 4 pump will increase the firm pumping capacity of the pumping station from 45 million gallons per day to 75 million gallons per day. Upgrades to the existing pumping station also include a dedicated suction pipe, discharge pipe, backup power generator, and controls to adjust the pump speed based on hydraulic conditions in the distribution system. The Department of Procurement advertised for solicitations in June of 2023. 3 bids were received and deemed responsive. DWM evaluated the submittals and generated a recommendation for award for Ruby Collins Benchmark Management Joint Venture. This project improves system resiliency by adding a 4th pump. The pumping station is critical to maintain pressures and reduce potential boil water advisories, increasing the volume of water available to support the South Fulton area. Subject to your questions, that concludes my briefing.
The first question will be from Councilmember Wan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So am I reading this correctly? I'm seeing the IPRO report, and the estimated dollar amount was $12 million, but we're doing a contract here now for $29 million. Am I reading this wrong?
Great question, Councilmember Wan. The design for this project was, the 100% design for this project was created before the pandemic. So the 3 bids that we received and we deemed them responsive, all 3 of those proposals the bids were very close. So we realized that based off of market conditions, that our original request of the 12 million was too low.
By a factor of 2.5, I mean, is that all just pandemic inflation, or what did we miss? That's a pretty big jump.
It was market conditions, but we also wanted to make sure that we had backup power at the Adamsville generator, at the Adamsville pumping station. So we did add certain items to the project.
All right, so it was a little expansion of scope as coupled with just market inflation and rates. Okay,
Correct.
Thank you. That answers my question.
And any other questions? It's been moved and properly seconded. It was moved by Councilmember Amos and second by Councilmember Lewis. Please open the vote. Mr. Johnson.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed.
And on this
6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Excuse me.
And on this same exact subject, I've been reading CNN the past couple of days to see the water issues that other cities are having. Mexico City, they may run out of water. And so I want to say I appreciate you, Mr. Fletcher, and I appreciate you, Commissioner Browning, for looking ahead. So when I heard the statement that 3 years ago we planned this at 12 million, it went up to 29 million, we got to get it done. And South River watershed needs to be next, looking at a pumping station. We need to make sure we're prepared because cities are running out of water. Please continue, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair, that takes us to item number 5. Item number 5 needs to be substituted. The substitute changes the caption. Can there be a motion to bring forth a substitute?
So move. Second by Councilmember Juan. Oh, Shook. Councilmember Shook.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is brought before you. The substitute adds language authorizing the CFO to pay the donation and authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute the donation agreement. Item number 5, 240109, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone, as substituted by the City Utilities Committee, an ordinance authorizing the City of Atlanta to donate funds in total amount not to exceed $80,000.00 to Common Courtesy Incorporated pursuant to Section 6-306 of the City of Atlanta's charter to be used specifically to provide fuel-efficient rides to recently released inmates and detainees from the Atlanta City Detention Center, authorizing the mayor's designee to enter into a donation agreement which shall detail the actions of Common Courtesy Incorporated to provide fuel-efficient rides to recently released inmates, to authorize the chief financial officer or his designee to make the donation authorized hereby from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes, and the department requested this item be held.
It's been moved and properly second. Moved by Councilmember Juan, second by Councilmember Shook. Please open the vote. Mr. Johnson, please.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is held in committee. This takes us back to Section J, resolutions. Item number 6, 24R3254, a resolution by Councilmember Howard Shook authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an agreement to accept an in-kind donation of services and materials from the Georgia Power Company on behalf of the Mayor's Office of Sustainability and Resilience, the Atlanta Fire and Rescue Department, and the Department of Enterprise Asset Management to study the effectiveness of potential energy efficiency technologies and equipment at Fire Station 21, valued at $196,708.36, and for other purposes. And Mr. Chair, this item will need to be amended. The amendment attaches Exhibit A, which is the pilot program agreement.
Moved by Councilmember Juan, second by Councilmember Shook. Please open the vote. Move to amend by them.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is amended. Mr. Chair, we need a motion to approve as amended.
Moving properly second. Moved by Councilmember Wan, second by Councilmember Shook. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The item is favorable as amended. Item number 7, 24R3278, a resolution by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor as needed to execute the 7th Amendment to Agreement FC 9838 Program Management Services with Stantec SG Joint Venture on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management to add funding for professional program management services rendered during the period commencing on January 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2024, an amount not to exceed $5,400,000.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account number listed herein and for other purposes.
Anything from the department?
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Chairman Lewis, council members, Makita Brown, and Department of Watershed Management. Purpose of legislation is to seek approval for the 7th and final amendment for FC 9838 Program Management Services contract with Stantec SG Joint Venture on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management. The PMSC provides, on an as-needed basis, professional program management services to assist Department of Watershed Management with capital improvements program, addressing our consent decree regulatory requirements through the Clean Water Atlanta program and other departmental strategic initiatives. City continues to implement a comprehensive capital improvements program, which is a balanced program of expenditures to help sustain, restore, and modernize the facilities and infrastructure that support the water system, the wastewater system, and combined sewer control facilities, green infrastructure, stormwater, and general maintenance and repairs priorities in our service area. Some of the basic services that the PMSC provides, in addition to CIP management and administration and regulatory compliance, are hydraulic modeling support, project controls and delivery, financial forecasting strategy, and information systems management, in addition to support with special projects and initiatives. The department is in the final stages of the procurement phase to execute a new contract. Meanwhile, the PMSC continues to perform in an above satisfactory manner. The expiration for the current contract is end of April 31st of this year, and your approval will provide the necessary funds to continue services until a new contract is in place before expiration of the current. This concludes my remarks.
Moving properly second. Moved by Councilmember Amos, second by Councilmember Wan. Please open the vote, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Commissioner Brown.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The item is favorable. Mr. Chair, that concludes our legislative items for today.
Anything from any of my colleagues? One thing from Councilmember Boone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. On behalf of the District 10 citizens, we would like to offer our deepest condolences to the family of Donald Webster, who passed last week. He is the father of Karen Webster and Michael Webster, longtime District 10 citizens. So on behalf of the citizens of District 10 and Atlanta, we offer our deepest condolences to the Webster family. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, I want to say thank you to the members of the Department of Watershed Management who helped bring a job fair to Roselle Fan that brought out more people that work for the city than any other job fair we've had. I want to say thank you to the Department of Watershed Management for creating an environment that people want to come into. And after that, being that anything from anybody else on my meeting adjourned.